Hello, welcome to JIBRIN Angle on Oweleke TV. My name is JIBRIN, and this is my angle. Thank you once again for joining me on this monologue. On this monologue today, we shall be talking about something Senator Ned Nwoko talked about. Okay, let me read the news, then I'll come back to give my opinion about it. It has to do with insecurity. Ned Okonkwo said, allow Nigerians to carry guns. That is what he said. That's the headline of this. The news is actually was carried by Oweleke TV. So let me read. Delta North Senator Ned Nwoko has reiterated his call for the federal government to allow Nigerians to bear arms and defend themselves. The lawmaker made the fresh call while speaking as a guest on Channels Television's Politics Today on Wednesday. Senator Nwoko explained that if Nigerians are allowed to bear arms, it will curb the challenges of insecurity in the country, as the citizens would be able to defend themselves. He argued that with the plethora of security challenges in the country, the masses resorting to self-defense wouldn't be a bad idea. Asked during the program if carrying guns would solve the nation's security problem, the lawmaker said, yes, it will. Okay, the news article. Okay, let me read on. He also recalled how his senior legislative aide was killed by gunmen who attacked his home in Abuja last year, with a man unable to defend himself. Nwoko submitted that if the late SLA had a gun, such wouldn't have happened. Excuse me. All right. Then the quotes, there are quotes down there. So it's basically quoting the same thing. Okay, let me read the quote. My SLA was killed in November last year, and the wife said the estate was attacked by kidnappers. When they got to their door, they wanted to knock down the door. The wife and kids went to hide under the bed in one of the rooms. When he went to open the door, he was taken and nobody saw him again. As a matter of fact, those people who took him away have been arrested. If he had a gun or members of that estate had guns, you think the kidnappers would have the audacity to knock from house to house, knowing that people are armed? That wouldn't happen, Nwoko said. All right, yeah. You ask, what is my take on this? My take is this. While I agree with him to a reasonable extent, actually, that it is good for government to allow everyone who can to actually arm themselves, because arming yourself, of course, there are scrutiny when you want to arm yourself. There are legal way you can go through it. There are background check. Someone will definitely go through background check. So that will curtail or circumvent any proliferation of arms or whatever. Even though criminals will always circumvent the system. But 80% I agree with him, 80%, but 20% I have my skepticism, because obviously people will abuse that. Even though I believe in everyone arming himself or herself for self-protection, because it's obvious that government can't protect us anymore. So it behooves us to begin to protect ourselves. But again, the downside of this is that we'll have, just like I said, the criminals will always have their way to circumvent the system. And that is just the fear there, that there will be a proliferation of arms, and probably you will find out, will now end up having people killing themselves over little squabbles. So that is just about 20% of my concern there. But 80%, actually, I agree with Ned Nwoko that government should allow us to begin to arm ourselves. In fact, that thing should be amended in the constitution. That's just because, unfortunately, government will never allow that. They will not. No, look, any government that is authoritarian, any government that is anti-people, Any government that is corrupt will never, ever, they always want to, this issue of gun restriction, they always want to be, they always want to place immense limitation or restriction on gun ownership or acquisition. And that is just it, especially for president, someone, a government like that of Tinubu, that is corrupt, that is full of corruption everywhere. Definitely, unfortunately, they will never allow that. First, I think the constitution need to be amended on that. I think so, and but I think that the executive order can actually go with this. There is, I think, there are some situations where the president can give such kind of the executive order. I think so. I think we'll be discussing that with Barrister Manta on our next show. I but besides that, I know our government, the government of the day, will never do that. That's the unfortunate thing. It is because they will never. Any authoritarian government never accepts, never permits people to own guns because they know that people can rise against them. Their fear is that people may end up rising against them. That is their fear, so they will not allow that. That is just the reality. As much as I agree with Ned Nwoko, it's unfortunate that in our system we almost it's almost impossible to actually find Tinubu doing actually caving to such expectation. He will never do that, and that is my angle.